Yeah, just live. We'll put up the details later. We're back up. Yeah, I'm also sorry there seemed to be a break. Continue. So I was mentioning this this other name sṛkkāntā. So the word sṛkkāntā is a common word, so I figured it must be that word. I was saying it means sṛkkāntā means associated with Sri, right? And also Kanta means just see. So it's a name for Vishnu and a name for Lakshmi both, sṛkkāntā. But I kept looking. It's not Shri. It's not S. It's Sri or Srik. So it's regular S and then a vowel R, right? So and the translations all all the translations were strange and didn't quite match. We were in our looking at this morning. So it comes from figured it out. The Sri is like Sristi Stiti Vinashanam Shakti Bhute Sanatani in the Chandi mantra. Sristi Stiti, the one who creates, who establishes creation. Right, Stiti, who preserves, Vinasham, destroys. So it means the creation or the creator, the Stri. Stri Stiti means is she who establishes creation, and Stri means creation. Right, so sṛkkāntā, Kanta means beauty. Right, so she who is the beauty of creation. Right, another meaning could be, and I've looked at some commentaries on it. Sṛkkāntā means she who from beauty creates. She creates from beauty. So that's a very, very nice name, I think, right? That this, especially after these things like violent sound and and severed heads, and chops off her own head. Right? But she creates this, everything we see. She is a creator. She's Tristiti Vinash. We know she creates, sustains, destroys the universe. Gunashre Gunamayi means that she is a gunas of nature, and from her the gunas are created. So she is both the creator of everything and the creation itself. But this creation that she is beauty, and it's created out of beauty. That's a very, very nice idea. So sṛkkāntā means that Kanta most likely here means that it means beauty. It also means a beautiful woman, right? It also means related. She comes from that, or Sri comes from her, or she comes from Sri. It's that type of connection. So sṛkkāntā, she who comes from beauty, who creates out of beauty. And then again, ghora-rāvā, again this tremendous sound, that name that's given twice. And then śivāsaṁgī, and visaṁgī. That was what we were talking, or something. Mavati, thank you. That's again. So śivāsaṁgī, Shiva Sangha. She who is connected or in union or with or in companionship with Shiva. So we know Shiva and Shakti, always Kali and Shiva are together, and in the earlier name, we know that she's in union with Shiva, right? So it could just be a reference to she's in union with Shiva, and I think that's the primary meaning, because the next verse, the next two verses, will be all about the bliss of union, right? The intoxicated bliss of union. So I think is maybe setting it up for this. Are we good, or no? There's some drawbacks of being outside in the sun, I guess, with equipment. Let's see what we got here. Sorry for the interruptions. I think we're back on. I think we're back on. Sorry, the camera got too hot, so we cut off for those at home. So śivāsaṁgī, she who is in union with Shiva. She is with always. We could say always with Shiva. So either Shiva and Shakti are always united. To say they're always united, and so we have to put it in connection with this next word. So śivāsaṁgī, she's always with Shiva, always in union with Shiva, always with Shiva. Thakur says Shiva and Shakti are actually not just united; they're the same thing. The two aspects of the same thing. And Purush Prakriti, Shiva Shakti. But visaṁgī, V is a Sanskrit word that it qualifies, and it's used differently. Like we mentioned jnana and vijnana last time. So jnana means knowledge, and vijnana is like realized knowledge or something like that. We discussed it last week. But here, when it's connected to sanghi, it means not with. So visaṁgī means alone. Right. So here he's always with Shiva, and the very next name she's always alone. Right. Or you could say if she's in union with Shiva, or she's not in union with anybody. Right. Or she's with Shiva, or she's without Shiva. So without Shiva. Right. So that's it. To put these two. This tree likes you. To put these two names together, it's a very interesting idea, right? She's one thing he pointed out. Oh, this may refer to Dhumavati. Dhumavati swallows Shiva in her story, right? And she's alone without Shiva. When she swallows Shiva, she swallows the universe, right? Everything stops. That's one of the main points of Dhumavati. Dhumavati becomes a widow without Shiva. Right, so usually Kali is always with her consort, right? All the forms of Devi always have their consort, except Dhumavati. Dhumavati, she's a widow. There's no Shiva. So it could be a reference to that idea, right? She stands alone without Shiva. But when you have union, when she's with Shiva and then she's with nobody, right? When you have union between two things, right, the experience becomes there's no difference. Right, so there's only one. So when two things are in union, we consider that it could be a reference to the non-dual state, right? Shiva and Shakti together are always in play. This whole world is a play of Shiva and Shakti, but the union of Shiva Shakti creates another realization, right? That is beyond duality, beyond what Yoga Shastra calls kavalyam, which is like complete. There's no good English word for kavalyam. It's like isolation is a good one, like single aloneness. Right? There's just and that gets in more popular language of Vedanta, it becomes that of non-duality. But it's not even non-duality; it's a slightly different idea, but it's like a singularity. So this could be a reference to that. When you have the union of Shiva and Shakti, the union of when that experience happened. And in Tantra we have this term called padasambit. There's a union for which we're always hankering. When that inner union happens internally, symbolized in Tantra with the kundalini and base of the spine, the top of the spine. When that union happens, there's always this place of Shiva and Shakti, and always searching for that union. In that union, a new experience, that there's padasambit is a union that the experience is beyond duality. It takes one beyond duality. This could be perhaps a reference to that visaṁgī. But also she's Shiva and Shakti, but she's also Brahman. Thakur said he had this term Kali Brahman. Not that Kali, Kali and Shiva are symbols of Brahman. No, Kali is Brahman, the one that the absolute non-dual reality that's described in Vedanta and the Upanishads and the Vedantic schools. He says, I call that Kali, right? So the Kali is Brahman, right? So it's only one. It's never two, right? But it's also two, right? And that's a big mystery. We've been talking about this last few weeks, that within the one. In Tantra, the belief is that within the one, there's automatically two. There's only one. Tantra is ultimately a non-dualistic school. At least it's understood itself to be a non-dualistic school. Right? It says there's only one reality, but that one reality, part of it's in Vedanta we say it's Satchitananda. That's a term given to it, and this Ananda business, that experience of bliss. An experience requires something to experience and an experiencer, right? So existence can exist by itself perhaps, but not experience, right? The aesthetic experience. So in order for something to exist, and also it needs also to be experienced. So within the existence, automatically creates. In the Tantra, it describes like a gram. A gram was two halves. A seed has two halves. Even a seed has a male and female principle, right? Even though it's one seed, there's two part of. You can like a gram or a wheat thing. It has two pieces, right? together. So within the one, there's two. There's implied. There's in Tantra we call it what is it? Prakashan vimarsha. So that's the main thing. It means the light of awareness and that which reflects it. So Shiva is the one reality. If it's going to see itself, it has to see itself. So there's a sense of two, even though there's not two. And as soon as you have a sense of two, then you have a third thing that comes, and that is if the one experiencing, the thing experience, and experience. Right. So within one there's two. Within two there's three. Any luck? Are we on? Thanks. Within one there's two, within two there's three. And so that's how yantras are built. When you draw a yantra, we've talked about it, when you draw a yantra, you don't just draw the dot. The bindu is not a dot. The bindu is actually two dots that have to look like one dot. And it's actually it's properly three dots that made to look like two dots. That's actually one dot, right? So it's a weird. So it's like you draw it with like it's three dots that create two dots that at the end of it, you only see one dot, one circle, to imply how the yantra expands. Within the one, there's a pulse of two. That two creates three, and then that three creates all kinds of variety. That's the central triangle of any yantra. Psychologically, that becomes knowledge, will, and action. Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, and Icha Shakti. And then theologically, it becomes Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, creation, sustenance. I mean, all the three gunas, all these things, all these trinities that go to create the world of multiplicity come from that fundamental unity and duality and trinity, and then the full realm of multiplicity. So sṛkkāntā, visaṁgī, madanāturā. Oh, I forgot one important name. I forgot it, sorry. My section here is not numbered, so it's rakta-vāhinī. That's one that's very interesting. So rakta-vāhinī. Can anybody guess what rakta-vāhinī means?
Rides the blood?
Hmm?
Who rides the blood?
Who rides blood. That's what it seems to mean. Rakta means blood, and vāhinī, like śivāsaṁgī, right? She who rides a lion, right? It's a name for Durga, right? Shiva is Nandi Vahana. He rides the bull, right? So every deity rides some animal or something like that. Her vehicle, Vahana means vehicle. Her vehicle is a rakta. So that's very interesting. That's actually out of this cluster, I think, is the most interesting, potentially interesting name to contemplate, right? Rakta. So she rides blood. So what could that mean?
Courses through the blood?
That could be it. So I lost thinking. Govinda, she who rides blood. So it could be. I mean, she and we've blood is the symbol, not the symbol. It's the actual carry of prana, right? You know, it's not just a symbolic. We use it. There's blood symbol. Like for instance, we're not a bloody temple, right? But we see our temple is covered in red. We have red cloth, red flags, red sindoor, red flowers, red hibiscus, red. You know, everything you see. The shrine is all red. Right, because the symbol, it's blood symbolism. Red is a symbol of, you see something life, and even in sacrificial cultures, which we're not part of, right, the offering of blood is the offering of life. That's the real meaning behind it, right? And so, so there's a prana, the goddess Prana Shakti, right? She lives, she herself has an iconographic form, right? She's bright red, right? She sits on a red lotus in an ocean of blood, right? Everything about her is red, right? So it's prana. So the very life. We even say the lifeblood, right? Or that we use, and we connect prana with air and oxygen, but also even biologically, oxygen. The red in the blood is from high oxygen content. There's connections, right? So one thing is that she rides our blood, right? But rakta means blood, or rakta also means red, right? That's another meaning of rakta. And we won't get too deep into it. I'm not ready to talk too deep into these certain aspects of tantra that could be referred to here. Later there'll be verses that directly talk about certain tantric ideas of blood that we won't be able to avoid. We have to talk about it carefully. Here I won't only mention it. I mentioned this festival that's going on in Kamakhya right now. Kamakhya, the story of the Divine Mother when she self-emulated herself as Sati. She died and gave up her body in the sacred fire, or in the fire yoga. There's an ancient story about that. We're watching Devanki Dev Mahadev again, and so after 22 hours of watching, we're about that probably happen tonight, tonight or tomorrow. We get a chance when Sati gives up her body, and Shiva in grief takes her body and is wandering, dancing the universe in grief, holding the body of Sati. But when Shiva dances, that's called Tandava dance. Tandava dance is the dance of destruction. So that's not good. So the gods don't know what to do. So it says that Vishnu took his disc and began to chop her body up, right? And then her body fell in different parts, right? And those places are on Earth. They exist on Earth, into 50 or 54 places. The Devi Bhagavatam gives over 100 Shaktipitams, but the general list is 50 or 54. And there's a classical list where different body parts fell to Earth. And these are called Shaktipitams. And it's very interesting because this is a great thing, because you can go to a place that's a Shakti Pit and you see, like, this is where the Divine Mother's pinky fell. This is where her earring fell. Daima, Daima, Daima. You okay there? This is so it seems to be, it's it's a certain way of, it's a grafting a mythological world onto the geographical world, right? You can feel like one of the most exciting things, we went to a place called Kalimat, and we were told, over here, this is where Shumba and Nishumba were killed, right? And you could see it. It's like, this is totally where Shumba and Nishumba were killed, right? Part of me thinks, this happened in some cosmic prehistory, or it happens as completely symbolic, or it's a mythology, but also this is definitely where it happened, about a mile from here. And you could see when it describes where he picked up a mountain, threw it over, when Ma picked up a mountain, threw it at Shumba. It's like, that's the mountain. You can actually, there's something about grafted on, the story is grafted onto the actual place, So the Shaktipitams are definitely that. And whatever is there's some, if some of you have probably been to Shaktipitams, they're something. And to go to all the Shaktipitams, that's considered like a major pilgrimage, to do the 12 Jyotirlingams, the Char Dham, and the 50 Shaktipitams. The person I know who's gotten closest is like Swami Ayyappa. He's gone like over 40. Every year he goes to India and tries to go to Shaktipitams, as many. He's even tried to go to the one, there I think 4 or 5 in Pakistan. But there's harder due to climate is not favorable. So he's tried to, I think last year he went. Jagannath Puri, yeah, that's one of them. Yes, that's in Puri. Tomorrow is Jagannath Ratha Yatra, right? The cart festival, Lord Jagannath in Puri, but in Puri there's also a Shakti Pitam. So some hold that, you have to be careful. I don't want to offend anybody's view of what Puri Dham is, but who Jagannath is very mysterious. Nobody knows who Jagannath is. He's worshipped as Krishna, Balaram, and Subhadra. Krishna, his brother, and his sister. That's their worship, right? But so many acharyas have had so many different visions there. Some have seen, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Radha, Krishna, and Balaram, not Subhadra, right? Some have seen it's Lakshmi Narayan. So many different visions. Holy Mother had a vision, if I dare say. Holy Mother saw that it was Lord Shiva lying on a couch of a 10,000 shalagram shilas, right? Brahmananda had a vision of the Divine Mother there. They saw Sri Ramakrishna. So who Jagannath is, there's a lot of, there was a period of time that it was worshipped as during the Buddhist era, which was very prevalent at one time. It was the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, right? And even now in the traditional paintings of the Dash avatars, when they get to Buddha, they usually have Jagannath in the traditional paintings. Jagannath represents Buddha because he was worshipped as Buddha for a long time. Interesting. But there's some the tradition is there's something every 12 years the wooden deity of Jagannath gets changed and something is removed from the old deity and put into the new deity, right? And so people only guess what that is. Even the priest who does it blindfolded. He can't see it. Nobody has seen it, right? Most likely it's a shalogram or something like that's what it's understood. Most likely, right? But there's some hold that no, this used to be this place is a Shakti Pitam, was originally like one time was worshipped as the seat of Shakti, and even now there's a Shakti temple like Pitam in the compound. So maybe it's whatever fell has been passed on. I forget what's known what fell there. I don't remember, to be honest. But and tomorrow or today, millions of people get to see Lord Jagannath and maybe get darshan through the image of whatever. maybe not. I'm not sure. But anyways, that's an important Shakti Pitam. So to do pilgrimages to all these Shakti Pitams is a major thing. Each one has its own benefit. There's each one has a Shiva attached to it, a Bhairava form to it. But out of all of them, it said the supreme Shakti Pitam is called Kamakya. That's in Assam, right? And Kamakya is where the Yoni, the Devi, fell, right? And so it's a obviously by nature it's a tantric place. It's a very ancient goddess place. A lot of tantra sadhana is performed there. Usha went there once. It's a goal. It's like the Mecca for a Shakta to go to Kamakya. And so in Kamakya, and there's no image. I mean, there's temples all over the mountain with all kinds of deities, but the main shrine, there's not an image. There's I guess a well. I guess I haven't seen it. Usha explained to me. It's like a well. It's like where it's like the Devi's yoni. It's full of water, and so people go and worship that as the source of creation. And I mentioned that there's a festival that goes on 1 month. This is the Ambubachi festival. This is when the Devi is seen to be menstruating, and believe it, the water even turns red. This is during the monsoon season, just supposed to hit around this time. It changes the nature of the way the water flows and changes like that, and the water supposed to flow red at that time. And considered a very special prasad is some cloth that's touched to this water, right? And luckily somebody had given us one tantric sadhu. He goes every year to that festival. That's a major important thing, and he brought us. So it's on the shrine, worshipped every day. One of the special things on our shrine to get the cloth dipped in this red from the well, and some other thing that came from the well when Usha went there. Not a well, but something like. So this name, this rakta-vāhinī, and it's connected to other names which I'm not revealing yet. As we get to them, as we unfold and get to them, it's also referring to not just blood, but it's blood. Blood is life, right? And in the feminine system, the menstrual blood is also a symbol of the goddess and symbol of life and of rebirth. When we get there, we'll discuss more. There needs to be some more setup before we get to those verses about rakta and shweta and all these type of things, shukra. Rakta-vāhinī, ghora-rāvā, great sound, śivāsaṁgī, in union with Shiva or with Shiva, visaṁgī, and always by herself, with nobody else, right? And then the next name sets it up for another set of the next verse, madanāturā. Madanāturā. Let me get this one has a translation, Sanskrit in it. Madanāturā. Shri Kali Mandir Madanāturā. So madanāturā. Madana, anybody knows what madana means? That's a common Sanskrit word. Like mada means drunk or intoxicated. Even like Madana Mohana, he would talk who takes the mind, name for Kamdev. Right? Madanāturā means the one who is the source of the highest form of intoxication, or one who enjoys the highest form of intoxication. And this is connected to this name of union with Shiva, always with Shiva, right? Or by herself, without or in that union of the non-duality, this pada-sambit. And so Devi, one of her iconographical features, that her face is supposed to be in bliss, right? It's sometimes because she's supposed to be fierce and in bliss. How do you show both things, right? that our artist friend in Calcutta, Hela Goswami, he was commissioned by somebody to paint Kali in bliss, and it was all these different, seemed to be contrary emotions, of fierceness, of bliss, and motherliness. Even like a sexual bliss and motherliness. Very hard to, these things don't quite mix, right? He did it very beautifully, you know. Really, very skilled artist can do like that. But she's in the highest, because she's in union with Shiva. She's always in the highest bliss, or she is giving the highest intoxication, the highest bliss, right? The highest embroidery. And so you mentioned, you asked last week about this bowl of that mother holds. She holds a skull cup or a bowl with blood in it. And I said, well, that's ultimately, that blood is prana, that blood is amma. He's either seen as drinking blood in the images, or is drinking varuni, right, or wine, or like some intoxicating. It's not blood. It's not wine. This is something, a new. Every in tantra we say every experience creates rasa, right? If you taste ice cream, saliva is created. Right, every union creates some juice. We even say, "Oh, something's juicy." Even a topic, well, that's a juicy gossip, right? You know, it's like you hear it, you hear it, you get some juice flows, right? We can enjoy, right? You can get drunk with that, right? And you get drunk, you lose your mind and get in trouble, right? And you see the mystics. Imagine if that's true. If you can get drunk on gossip. If you can get intoxicated on wine, right? These are such low and vibrationally very low, simple things. Imagine these are conditioned, these are fettered things. Imagine she who's Digambara and Avyakta, beyond mind, beyond speech, beyond, right, infinite union with the infinite. What type of juice would be produced? What type of intoxication would be felt? Right? And therefore, the mystics, many mystics, they use the language, "I'm drunk." You know, I drink what Ramprasad says, I drink no ordinary wine, right? But the wine of everlasting bliss, right? You know, it's like, or the thing is that another Ramprasad or Kamalaganta song is that I shall take mother's name and use that to ferment the wine, right? There's many things like this. And the Sufis use this language, Rumi uses this language, Kabir uses this language of being drunk. And people hear that, oh, see? I mean, drunk is it's okay to drink, right? It is okay to drink. What are we trying to drink? So Sri Ramakrishna had, we were discussing the other day, his colorful disciple, Girish Ghosh, was our topic of conversation the last few days. Girish Ghosh is, what is it? The Bohemian disciple. It's always described as Bohemian disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. So he was a colorful character for sure, and he was definitely a drunkard. Right, and he was a drunkard and a womanizer, and he had many wonderful, outstanding qualities, right? Right. One thing is good. The benefit of knowing about Girish Ghosh, it gives us all a little hope because he became a great saint, right? But when he would come, and Sri Ramakrishna told him, you shouldn't drink. Drinking is not good. No, I can't give up drinking. So he wouldn't give up drinking. So actually, Sri Ramakrishna, when people would come who were drinking was a problem, he didn't tell them to stop drinking, right? But they would eventually stop drinking, right? Because to tell somebody who's addicted to drinking, stop drinking. Now there's methods to help somebody stop drinking, but just telling them to stop drinking doesn't make them stop drinking, right? If you're addicted to something, but instead, he says, when you drink, right, think of God, right? Think that try to think that this is the intoxication, because the intoxication we're after is divine bliss. We want union with God. We want the highest taste, right? But we're seeking it in ways that aren't going to give it to us, right? But slowly, he tried to change the mind, and by kirtan, sadhana, like that, we get inner bliss, and slowly, the draw is not there, right? Even he had people, so he would come to him. When he himself, Thakur, would send somebody, go out and buy alcohol for him. Such and such person has come. We wouldn't think of it. People coming here, we wouldn't tell them, please go buy alcohol. A drunk has come to Kali Mandir, please go buy some beer for him or something like that. We're like, oh my God, what are we going to do? He smells like alcohol. He's scaring the children. He's not behaving properly. He doesn't smell good. You know, like we freak out when somebody comes drunk to Kali Mandir. It's on our website. Don't come drunk, right? right? But Sri Ramakrishna was more open. He could see what was the cause was even the impetus to drink is a divine longing for intoxication. We want to be intoxicated. But real intoxication is something different. There's one. His name I think was either Kalipada or Priyanath. There's maybe Kalipada was Thakur's disciple. Maybe Kalipada Ghosh perhaps. I'm forgetting this now, but he came with a friend to see Thakur, and Thakur, seeing him, immediately saw that he was probably a drunkard by temperament, right? And he says, "Oh, would you like some wine?" Right? And he goes, "Yeah, is it British wine?" The good stuff, Like he goes, "No. The wine I have, this is a village. This is made in the village. This is common wine, right?" Homegrown, that's right. He said, this is homebrewed. That's right, homebrewed. Right? He got all excited, not thinking, and Sri Ramakrishna just tapped him on his chest, and he went into ecstasy. Right? That was the wine he had to offer, right? So that, but I love it. It's like, oh yes, do you have British? It's the good stuff, But also at the end of his life, he was. If I'm getting, I may get the devotee wrong, but I think it's Kalipada Ghosh. He's the one that he was a Brahmin by birth, but he had fallen due to drinking and then womanized, and slowly his life had fallen apart completely. He'd given up all spiritual practices, he'd given up the family tradition, he wasn't bearing the sacred thread anymore like that. And by this touch of Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna never told him don't drink. He gave him he gave him the thing he was hankering after. He got him the actual joy he was looking for. Right? At the end of his life, when devotees would see him later, he'd be just one cloth, in a single white cloth, as Brahman said, just wandering around going, Priyanath, 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 my beloved Lord. He'd just be blissed out, right? He'd found that whether he was drinking, that we don't, those details aren't given. maybe he was drunk, wandering around going, Priyanath, which is not bad. But I don't think so. I think it was a transformation. So Girish Ghosh was slowly, Thakur didn't tell him to stop drinking, but he became completely transformed personality. He had that. He experienced it. You can't even imagine what he experienced. We were mentioning, thinking about. Swami Chaitanya writes a lot. He wrote a whole book on Girish Ghosh, a wonderful book. And he says that he said that everywhere I walk, he was such a. And of course, he was very emotional and devotional and humble. So he self-deprecating personality. Everywhere I walk, 10 feet became 6 feet becomes dirt, earth. Everywhere I am, 6 feet underneath becomes impure. Right? That you can see that's a groveling type of devotee. Oh, I'm so impure. I'm the most fallen. But if we know enough about his life that it could have been true. Like he had such a like that. But the end of his life is just touch me and you become pure. Just touch me. Right? I'm Sri Ramakrishna's miracle. If you touch me and you become pure. That's a very big thing. With the transformation, it could also be a symbol of his example of his exuberant devotion, right? But it seems to be this way if we look at his life. Thakur called him Bhakta Vaidava. Amongst the devotees, he's our Vaidava, because he saw him in a vision. He saw in the Dakshineshwar shrine, he saw a Vaidava form, this fierce form of attendant of Shiva, jump out, and the Vaidavas, people worship Vaidava with alcohol. That's an important thing. Come out with a dark body, red eyes, with a big jug of alcohol under the thing. He ran around making some nuisance, and then merged back into Kali's feet. He saw this vision. And then later when he saw Girish Ghosh, he said, you're that Vaidava. So who knows who he is? He could have been some Vaidava form, But anyway, they call him Bhakta Vaidava. There's one book in Bengali, his biography, Bhakta Vaidava, Girish Ghosh. Very, very nice. Let me find my names here. Madanāturā, she who is the ultimate intoxication, or she who's experienced the highest intoxication. The next, I think what time is it now? We did
6:20.
6:20. We'll pretty much start. The next set, I'll give you a hint of the next name. The next name is Mata. Mata means also drunk, right? And then Pramata. Completely out of mind. That's how they say it, right? Pramada, and then Shudha Sindhu Vinashini. She comes. This is also where is she? Where is she born? She's born from the ocean of nectar, right? So this is giving. So we've given some general ideas of this idea, but this goes into very yogic things, right? There's not deep experience that have become amrita, but there's also in the body of a yogi there's amrit, right? And this idea, the devotional idea, and that of the cosmic God and union with the infinite, the experience that holds, and the corresponding change that happens, response in the body according to the yogis, is indicated by this group of names also. We'll try to, maybe next week, if we have the mind for it, we can try to describe some of it. Mahamata, Atimata, all these names, right? Sarvakarshi. So it's a very nice group of names. That's going to flush out this madanāturā. So my brain's a little bit, not so much concentration, but I give it my best shot. Is there any questions or comments? More wine, anybody? Nothing. So we'll start our Gupta Navaratri, a very auspicious night. So everybody's here worshiping Ma tonight, a very, very holy time. Very holy time. And remember, so many memories come to that first year when Ma was installed, and also our Guruji was present. He was present before. I was his final trip to America. And the way he told the story, when I went to visit him in India, he told people, yes, Usha has built this temple, and 10,000 people came to the opening. I think there was 50 people there, but he tended to exaggerate. Or he saw 10,000 people came there, or maybe were going to, or his nature was he exaggerated numbers a lot. That was his personality. But I remember it's like, well, it was a couple hundred, Guruji, even I was... But 1,000 people were there. He would tell everybody and how authentic how beautiful the deity was and how he was present.
It's true now.
Yeah, now it's true. How many people have come through Kali Mandir? I'm trying to imagine.
Facebook was 10,000.
What's that?
12,000.
What's that?
On the last Amavasya from last month.
So just watching online, 12,000 people saw last month. Already, I think 3,000 or 4,000 saw since yesterday.
Yesterday's Amavasya is 4,000.
4,000 since yesterday. So Usha's like going, this is good that the online thing so that 4,000 people don't come here. So we can. Usha, I don't know tell, but she one time, I won't say. But the question is, like, it's great. Tens of thousands, millions of people can come. The Divine Mother has the power to draw everyone. But the question is, where are they going to park? That's our problem. We have a slight problem, you know. So she has that power to draw everybody. You know, she's that thing we're always hankering for. But, tell me.
I heard about sanghi, you said. Is it the sangha and
Same word here is in connection. Sangha means in company with, right, or connection with, or attached to. It has all kinds of meanings, right? So we like satsang, right? It means here we're in company with truth, or goodness, right? So spirit, we're in or holy company. This is a satsang means we're the gathering, but some people use satsang. Oh, my satsang means my group of devotees that I associated with. Right, we should associate with holy people, and and then there's asatsang, which is bad company. Give up. There's one principle, asatsang tyag, give up bad company. Right, in Narada Bhakti Sutra, his whole verses just on to try to get good company and try to give up bad company. Disastrous effect of bad company. So company, that old saying, company. Tell me who you hang with, I'll tell you something like that. Who you are. Right. One verse I like very much. It's the verse I think about a lot. Of Paramahansa Yogananda. He says that company is stronger than willpower. I think about this a lot, and therefore, the proper use of your willpower is to choose your company really wisely. If you want them, you surround yourself with those type of people. It's gonna have an effect on you. So that's sangha. But sangha also means like attachment, to be like a sangi is a detached person. One of the names for like this, right? So also visaṁgī could mean she who's, although in union with, she's always with Shiva, but she's always detached. That could be that meaning, visaṁgī, right? Sangi. So detached means union. It means company. Sangi.
So that horrible sound is the hum.
It could be that. It could be the humkara, right? Or it could just be the mantra when om is, see ghora. The problem is that we ghora means horrible or terrible, right? It means awesome. That's another way to think of it, right? Awesome or overwhelming, so that she is that tremendous sound. Tremendous could be another way of saying it. Right? So commentaries on this ghora-rāvā usually means, they usually say something like om, the sound of om, or the original sound. She's a sound that creates everything, transformative sound, right? But also the mantra is when like I sometimes when I think of this, I think that's this ghora-rāvā may even be in the Bhagavatam. And this name is this word is there a lot. When Nrsimhadev, when he challenges Prahlad, where is this God that you keep claiming? He's everywhere. What do you mean? Is he in this pillar? I said everywhere. He's everywhere, right? And he goes and he slams his fist into the pillar, right? And then maybe even this word, but the description. And then a tremendous sound came, right? And we think of it like the roar of a lion, right? This tremendous sound, and Nrsimhadev came, right? But whether it was a sound, but think about that was a big realization, right? From like oh my God, it's true, right? And our friend Krishna Mohan, who's our Nrsimhadev Bhakta, he's where I get a lot of my juice from about Nrsimhadev. He always says that nothing survives the shock of God, right? The ego comes in contact with that simple fact, it gets ripped apart, right? So although it's the most beautiful, Prahlad is just like, oh, just see, I knew you were everywhere, and here you are, right? It's not a big revelation. It's just a sweet darshan of the one he sees everywhere. He actually gets to see him in a beautiful form, right? This tremendous form. But to that same vision is death to Hiranyakashipu. It would be horrible or tremendous, But for a devotee, we like when we chant mantras, we're not scared of the mantras. We're chanting because they're beautiful, right? That same beautiful sound seen from the other side may be frightening, right? In the Nrsimhadev Leela, there's a famous verse by, I think it's by Madanāturā Saraswati. He wrote a commentary on the Bhagavatam, and he was a devotee of Nrsimhadev, so his commentary on the Nrsimhadev Leela is mostly just prayers, right? And in it, there's one line that says, just like a kitten, like the jaws of a cat, right? To its prey is death personified. But to the kitten, it's affectionate. It's maternal. It picks up, like a cat grabs a kitten by the neck, right? That could be the most. Imagine a lion grabbing you by the neck. That could be the most frightening thing ever, right? But to the kid, it's like, right, you immediately give. You can even pick up a cat that way. It automatically goes into it. It's built in. That's the sign of surrender into the mother's arms, right? But to its prey, it's like, so it depends. So that tremendous sound, it may be the most beautiful sound, right? And actually, the verse after that, Gita Priya, she's all beautiful music. She's dance and song and festival and mantras, and it's describing the beauty of sound and ragas as her form, right? But this previous verse says she's ghora-rāvā, she's tremendous, that frightening sound. So it could be from two different sounds. And also even the mantra, you simply say Om or Ma, right? We should be. It's a tremendous sound, right? There's nothing more powerful than these names, in God's name, right? Nothing more transformative. And sometimes we were discussing this yesterday with a devotee. We sometimes take these things lightly and speak mantras and things like that, maybe not appropriately. We should be a little bit. Maybe it's also Goda means these are dangerous sounds. They have power, and they shouldn't be done too commonly. They should be kept sacred, and appropriate. Could be. So the thing is, you can't give exactly. You can translate the names, but we're not giving really describe. We're just using the names to talk about different topics. So this is an interesting topic. Yeah, one of our yogi friends, he gave the example that when you, like, if you see an ice, like an iceberg, what is it? Iceberg, right? You see the little tip, right? And so you only see the little tip, but 90% of it is underwater, right? And so if you take a stick, and even the small, and you push it, and the whole thing moves, you don't realize, you look like you just moved this little thing, but this huge ice has moved. Most of it you haven't seen what you've done, right? He described that mantras are like this. What we see, what we hear, is only the smallest part of it, right? We don't know what we're actually doing. Like in the Chandi, when she says "hum" and an army is destroyed, I just said it, right? I don't think anything happened, but maybe an army was just destroyed. Who knows what the transformative thing? We mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago, the point of Holy Mother said, then somebody said, "Oh, Mother, when I'm chanting mantra, I'm doing japa, but it's not working." So, what do you mean it's not working? I gave you a mantra, I gave you Master's name. What do you mean not working? Oh, I don't have any. I chanted, but I have no concentration. Right, so it's not good to concentrate. After all these years, I'm chanting mantra without concentration. I'm not getting inner feeling, not getting concentration. He says, no, chant it. Right, it's not. It's working. You don't know what it's doing. Right, we have a thing. Oh, if I do mantra, it has to do this. Right. But maybe it's awesome when you have perfect concentration, all this emotional feeling, and it's awesome, But but it may not be that may not be what it's. She knew what the mantra was doing, right? Maybe every repetition, armies of demons are being destroyed. Who knows when karmas are being burnt from the past? Who knows what's. He said every name destroys, it purifies karmas, purifies the mind, and when that will manifest as concentration, that's a thing. We want to be. The ego says, I want to be a yogi and I want to be able to sit perfectly and have my mind perfectly still, and we have a picture, and that'd be nice if that happens, and sometimes it works, but that may not be why these mantras are really chanted. We don't know what the sound's doing. Sound is very mysterious, and also I remember we did this. If you just put your hand over your chest. Right, and you go Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Everybody can try. You just put on your chest and you go Om Namah. You can feel when you chant, you can feel your body vibrate. Right, we don't even notice. We say the name, we say it's in our head. Right, the whole body's vibrating. That's doing something. Right, it's doing something to your cells, to your nervous system, to your pranas, what to speak of your thoughts and your citta and your karmas and your vasanas and your past life tendencies. Who knows what it's doing? We don't really. That's why words have power. We have to use them carefully, right? We should take these things very seriously. When we chanting mantras, it's doing something, right? And the fact that we don't know what it's doing may mean that it's really doing something. Right, because if we know what it's doing, then that's at a very we only know surface level things. We don't even notice that our body vibrates when you chant Om Namah Shivaya, when you chant the mantra. Somebody Aya did it on a video, and he did it like oh my God, it worked. I'm like wow, he did it, give it a talk. You put your hand over your chest, and it's like never. It's like our minds are a little shallow. The things we're obsessed with when we do japa may not be why it's happening. Yeah. Bombolina. We should go into Arati. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much.
My pranas are all jumbled from yesterday. So I was like, what did we talk about? What are we saying today? You know. But I didn't want to cancel because this is the holy time, and my normal tendency would have been to cancel. All right. Oh, you have to push. You know what to do.